All right, so
Oh, and I'm sorry. I'm just gonna let Max introduce himself and then we can kind of jump in.
Yeah. Hey everyone, my name is Max Menestrier. I'm based out of Austin, Texas. I support customers in the video games industry vertical here at AWS. I've been enrolled for about a year, and right now I support a lot of game analytics companies and a lot of indie companies right now in the gaming industry. So happy to support y'all with all your needs from what Cassie sent over, and excited to get into it.
all right, nice to meet you, Max. Who's next?
I think that's all from our side, right,
Oh,
Cassie?
that's it. Okay.
Yeah, all from our
All right.
side. So I don't know if everybody wants to introduce themselves or if it's most helpful to jump in. You let us know.
Yes, hello everyone. Myself Shrikant, and I'm from Gamayas, CEO and co-founder of Gamayas. So here with us our team like Satish and Harshil, Monica, and a few of them. So we're looking after gaming applications and AWS and all. So they're going to introduce and they're going to be part of active participant in this meeting. And thanks for this opportunity to joining this and let us collaborate and discuss on the things. So over to you, Harshil and Pawan. If you want, you can introduce yourself, and Monica, please take off from here. So thanks, Andrea, and thanks, Leong and Vernon, for organizing this call. So over to you.
Hey, hi
Hey,
team. Myself Monica. Sorry, am I interrupting anybody? Yes, so I take care of the operations in Damayas. So looking forward to working with you all. Satish, you may take the lead.
Okay, thank you, Monica.
yeah.
Who else?
So I'll just briefly introduce myself. I'm Harshil. So I'm mostly the tech lead for Shrikant's team. So we build video games primarily on Unreal and on the Unreal Engine and Unity. So we have a lot of development expertise, like building games from scratch to completion. So we worked on a whole bunch of games, right from AA to AAA games. So looking forward to hear the details. I mean,
I'm mute on
just a heads up, like I kind of came into this call a little blind. I honestly don't know what the full agenda is, but I'm curious to know uh, as the
ఇలా
call
అలవాటు
progresses.
అయిపోయింది మాకు
Yeah,
బాయ్.
Sounds like we're getting
yeah, I think
interrupted there.
yeah.
I was just want I think there was accidentally some feedback, so I muted her.
Okay,
But yeah, that she had something to
Casey.
say.
Yeah, Casey, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Leong Ying. I'm a colleague and friend of Vernon for many years. So he actually contacted me a few weeks ago to look at the opportunities of Maroon Island, which is what this topic is all about. Maroon Island, both making it as a movie, which my wife is a filmmaker, Andrea Wen. So we convened a meeting with Vernon, and we decided this is a great opportunity to do a movie with him on Maroon Island, and also an interactive game with Maroon Island as well. I'm the one who introduced Vernon to these developers from India. So all these Indian people, tech people, are introduction from me and my wife, Andrea Wen. So that just gives you an overview of who we are and the parties that are coming in. I've known Vernon, like I said, for many years. I've known about his Maroon Island, but the developers, Indian developers, we've only spoken to Shrikant. So Shrikant is familiar with what we're trying to do, but obviously Shrikant, the rest of his team, it's the first time on this forum. So that's why they said they're new into this, and that's why they may not be fully aware of what their agenda is. But I'll let my wife, Andrea Wen, have a little word introduction to herself, and then we can fire into the agenda, which is how to make this Maroon Island into an interactive game. So Vernon is in charge of this, so everyone should keep quiet and basically allow Vernon to speak to you, and we will speak when Vernon says that it's appropriate for either myself or my wife to speak, or our tech assistants from India to speak. Okay, thank you. Andrea, you want to say something? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Leon. As Leon said, I'm an independent producer, filmmaker, and I've been working on the entertainment industry since 2020. I've have a lot of connections around it, but my field where I work the most is marketing. When it comes to marketing, sales, public image, how to sell a movie, an idea. And when Vernon presented us Maroon Island, I was really impressed and amazed. And I'm really grateful for him to give us the opportunity to be here, because as we all know, the gaming industry makes even more money than the entertainment industry itself. So this is very exciting, and I look forward to hear more from you guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea and Dr. Ying. I appreciate your setting this up. I'm Vernon Gibbs. I'm the founder of Spiral Eye Music. And the reason I named the company that is because I come from a music background. I started as a music journalist, and then I was a music executive for several years. I worked with the infamous or the famous Clive Davis. He was my mentor, and we had a lot of success together. And then I went on to do other things. And now in my golden years, I'm working on Maroon Island, which is a lifetime project that I started working on many years ago. The reason it's a lifetime project is because it's about the Maroons of Jamaica. And I'm Jamaican. And the Maroons could possibly be my ancestors. I don't know. A lot of that information has been lost to history. And one of the things that we're going to do is to bring back stories that have been lost to history. And one of them is the story of the Maroons. And the Maroons successfully rebelled against the British who took over Jamaica in 1655. And the Maroons were able to wage a guerrilla war against them for decades until the British finally sued for peace in the 1700s. So the wars lasted from 1655 until the 1700s, and the Maroons were never defeated. The British actually had to go to them for peace and granted them their freedom on the island of Jamaica, while other Africans were still prisoners of war. So the Maroons had their own territory and were free to come and go as they pleased. And they spread revolution throughout North and South America. First, they spread their tactics to Haiti, and the Haitians were able to defeat Napoleon's army. And eventually, that resulted in America doubling in size because Napoleon had to sell the Louisiana Territory to America, what was the United States at the time, still is, I think. And those kind of stories have routinely, from my perspective as an African, been pushed to the side in American history. I went to Columbia University. I graduated there with a history degree, and I'd never heard anything substantial about the Maroons. I found one line in a book about them, and that disturbed me that as an adult, I knew so little about my own heritage. So I started writing the story about the Maroons, and it developed over the years into something much bigger because I had a contract with Microsoft for gaming, and I realized that there was a possibility to include gaming in this. So it was not going to be just a movie, but it would have a gaming element. And over the years, the technology to do what I had in mind became more and more available. At the time that I came up with the gaming element, the technology was very, very hard to access. And that caused some delays in developing the concept. But as I worked on it, I started to make connections in the movie business, including Keith David, who's a famous actor here in the United States. He's been in dozens of movies. He's now in the Spider-Man 3 movie. I forgot the name of it, but the current upcoming Spider-Man. So I wrote one of the parts for him, but the story itself is fictional. It's a fictional story about the Maroons as action heroes against not only the British, but against aliens from deep space who want to invade Earth. So the interactive element will be done on AWS. That'll be the sequel part of the content. So there'll be a movie that'll come out on streaming or for theaters. That'll be the first part. The second part is what we're here to talk about, which will be a series of sequels, 1 hour sequels, that they'll be built on an interactive platform, and there'll be an ability for people watching it to interact at certain points in the movie in a way that they can win prizes. It'll be a tournament, but it will not affect the outcome of the movie. So this is different from some of the interactions that we've seen over the last few years. We've seen Netflix try something with Black Mirror series where people could affect the outcome of the story by interacting with it. And what I think that taught us is that people, when they're watching a story, they want the story to continue. They don't necessarily want to affect the outcome of the story, but they don't mind interacting because there's a big industry. The biggest industry in the world is about gaming and interacting with games. So we're going to put one element of gaming into it, and that's the ability for the watcher to interact at certain points in the movie, just at certain points, maybe for a minute, maybe for 2 minutes. That depends on what the action is. But that's where we are. And that's why we're here today, to talk about how that would work. AWS has already given us a list of the various technologies that they have available. We wouldn't be here unless they had told me in advance that this is doable. So it's not a fantasy anymore. At one point, people were saying to me, well, how can you do that? That's impossible. But AWS is at the forefront of innovation in this area. And I was fortunate to be able to make contact with them. And they saw the idea that I just told you. They verified it. And so we need to talk about how to get it done today. So I would like my technical people to pose questions to AWS regarding that. I'm not a technical person. I'm kind of I'm a writer. So I came up with the whole concept of Maroon Island, and the world is already there. Everything is established, and we can make a 90-minute movie out of what I've already written, including the script. But the technical people are here today to discuss how we can do this. So fire away, guys. Who
Just
wants?
to level set before that,
Mhm.
from what you described as like an interactive experience, is that going to be like a game that you download off of a store and then you kind of play through a narrative-driven game, or is it more of like a video that's streamed to you and then you could make choices based on what's streamed to you? Can we kind of level set on
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I'm thinking that it should be a video that's streamed to you, and we're going to use one of your interactive platforms to do the streaming, and then within that, you should be able to uh, help make choices. The choices could revolve around things like, what door should I open to get out of this trap? What weapon should I use? You know, how do I take down this giant blocking my escape route? It could be any number of things that you have to choose. And the hero is also in the process of making a choice. So there would be an ongoing action on one side of the screen, and then you, as the player, is in another section of it, and you have to make a choice of what you should do. Now, what the reason that you would do it is because by doing it first and getting the answer right, you get to be up on the leaderboard. You get to be first or second or third, whatever it is. It comes out to fractions of seconds. So you have to react quickly. You have to make a choice quickly. And if you make the right choice, then you move up the leaderboard. And people have to pay to become part of that. And that's also going to be a source of revenue. So they have to join earlier before the show even starts. They have to join and pay their fees, and then they're eligible to be part of the interactive activity. Or if they just want to continue watching, they can do that too. So it's going to be something that hasn't been seen before. And that's a good question. I think that's the way to do it. That's streaming.
Okay, and how will kind of the people who want to access this stream, where will they go? Is it a website? Do they download some sort of client and they get it? Like, do you know what that would look like?
Yeah, I think that's what we're here to talk about today.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I brought in experts like yourself to see what's the most feasible way to do it. So I guess I'm a consumer. What I'd like to be able to do is to go to a interactive platform and turn on the sequel just like I would any other show that I want to watch on, say, Netflix, begin to watch it, and then have those options. I'd also like to be able to bring my team in and say, hey, guys, let's watch Maroon Island version 3. And because I like the subject matter, let's become part of the action. So you could put your team together and you're playing against each other. That's what I would like as a consumer. I'm not into downloading and all that, you know.
Okay, Vernon,
Yeah.
Matthew, I'll just jump in there. My wife and I are actually on the board of a streaming platform called Echoes TV Manitorium. So, to your question, one option is to stream it onto an existing platform that we are creating ourselves. Now, as I mentioned to you, I also introduced Vernon recently to a movie production company here in New York, which does AI. As you know, AI is huge now, including in the movie industry. So there are options to make first an AI dedicated or AI dedicated movie, which will obviously get the storyline out there. So it's more traditional theatrical release, etc., and obviously publicize the Maroon Island. So get people to, like I said, to see the brand, get excited, and then possibly do an interactive gaming platform, which it could be, like you said, either this new novel idea of streaming it and having some sort of interaction with the audience, or do it as a traditional game where you download it from an app. So just a complete interactive game. Beyond just the entertaining, I'm also a nuclear scientist. I have my own scientific theory called the twin universe. So one of the reasons why Vernon and I knows each other is to also incorporate my science as a scientist to make Maroon Island, even though it's a fictional story, it's historically based. So in the past, it's based on a historic event, but using current science, latest state of the art sciences. So that's my input is as a scientist, scientific advisor as well. So that's my input is I believe there's three possible options: a traditional movie to promote and publicize the brand, a novel interactive movie with interaction like Vernon stated, and then a more traditional uploaded gaming platform. So I think, like I said to you, we start from an open slate and our options to discuss this and see what is viable. And ultimately, money talks. So we all know that. So, we have to obviously, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to discuss with Amazon and our team is find out what the available budget for those options are. Because, like I said to you, also, as Vernon knows, I'm also involved in potentially bringing investors in as well. So everything's to be discussed. And based on the available budget, we determine what we can or able to do. Okay, so that's
Okay. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, that kind of sounds good, but at its base, what you're going to be streaming, is that going to be a video game or kind of a movie that's already pre-filmed, or is it like a rendered, is it like cartoon 3D rendered, or is it like
no, our intention to do a full feature film. So obviously the goal is to publicize Maroon Island. So like Black Panther, Avatar. So our goal is to make Maroon Island a worldwide known brand. And obviously Hollywood, which me and my wife are involved in, that's still the best way of getting it to the world. So our first goal is to make a movie. The reason why I make a movie as a traditional movie of this scale will cost $200 million, $200 to $300 million to do it traditionally. But now with AI technology, with the advancement in there, you can do realistic photo technology. In fact, there's models now out there that can do pretty much Hollywood type blockbuster movie, and obviously for a fraction of the cost. So that's why I introduced Vernon to a New York-based entity that can do, in principle, the AI movie. So I think, again, this is my personal opinion. My personal opinion is to do a traditional movie to get the Maroon Island brand out there, to show people the history of Maroon Island, and and obviously publicize it. And then the sequel is the gaming platform. So the gaming platform will either be this streaming video, which is interactive, or it'll be just a traditional game like Halo that you upload from the gaming app. Okay, but my personal view is that we should do a movie first.
Yeah,
okay, and publicize it.
Yeah, that's the plan, and that's also the plan for Bondit. We're already signed up with a company in Hollywood, and their name is Bondit Media Capital. And our strategy from the beginning has been to make a Maroon Island movie, and that's a standalone movie. So it has nothing to do with interactivity. It would be a standalone movie for theaters and for streaming. So that's a totally different project. That's Maroon Island itself. Then the way the Maroon Island story is set up, it's set up for sequels because it's left open-ended. It doesn't end when the movie ends. There's a whole lot of other things to come. So that's where the sequels are going to come in, and there'll be 1 hour sequels, and that's where the interactivity will be introduced. So that's why we're here. We want to talk about that. As I said, I'm not a tech person. That's why I have my tech people here. So I would like to discuss now what the most feasible, cost-effective way to do that is. And we don't expect
Vernon, can I jump in for a second?
Sure. Go ahead, Matthew.
Real quick for everybody, kind of the best analogy that I've been using for understanding the 1 hour sequels is essentially it's a game with 90% cutscene, right? So the majority of the game is viewership, but then there's these time segments where you're able to interact with it. That lets it be a consistent hour event.
Okay. By the way, I'm sorry we didn't introduce Matthew earlier. He is one of the co-founders of Spiral Eye and one of our early investors, and he is our COO. So he's a gamer also. The company was founded by myself and a gamer who's not on today, but it's the reason why we're here, quite frankly. So I'm sorry I didn't introduce you, Matthew. Thanks for checking in. So I hope that answered your questions and that we can start having a discussion now. I'd like the tech team from India, who was briefed earlier on this, to talk about how we could do this. There was a list of technologies that was sent to Dr. Ying. Did you guys get it, Srikant?
Yeah, we did have a look.
Okay.
I took a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like a little more. I think, if possible, a little more elaboration on the current discussion. So I think, Mr. Gibbs, you mentioned. I think you used the reference of Black Mirror. I believe the episode is called Bandersnatch, the interactive, the interactive element.
Mm-hmm.
So I that's not really a game. It's just an interactive element, right? It's like it's a dual choice you get, and then you pick one, and then they
Right.
probably shot two videos, and they kind of show you one.
Right.
Is that the interactivity that you're looking for, or is
No.
like when you mentioned a game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say no, because
Okay.
I mentioned Bandersnatch because I wanted to make the point that interactivity in a streaming linear format is something that Netflix understood 10 years ago that there was a market for. However, the way they did it was, to me, not the way the customer really wants to use interactivity. They don't want to interrupt the story. They want the story that they're being uh, told to be continued. But they do want to be involved with it, and so this is
Mm-hmm.
our solution for how they become involved. They become involved when there's a action scene, when the hero has to make a choice. So they have to make a choice with the hero. And if they make the right choice, then they get to be first and they win more money than a person who doesn't make the right choice and loses their money. So they have to pay a fee to be in it. They have to make the right choice. And the people who make the right choice move further up the leaderboard, and they continue to move further up the more right choices they make. So it's a very brief sequence, and the only similarity between that and Black Mirror is that you do get to make a choice at some point in the movie. So the difference is that we're not trying to affect the storyline, and we're not trying to
Right.
have the movie end in 20 minutes when it could go on for 2 hours. The movie will go on for 1 hour. The sequels will go on for an hour. That's their time.
Right.
But within that hour, there'll be several opportunities for the watching public to interact if they so choose. So
Right.
I'm sorry if Bandersnatch put you down the wrong road, but I was just trying to make the
No,
comparison
no,
that what we're
no.
doing.
I think it's a yeah. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. No, I think no, I get what you mean, but again, that kind of opens up a lot of other questions in my mind. Like, so what is the consequence of the choice? So you say it doesn't affect anything, right?
doesn't
But
affect the story.
primarily, yeah,
I didn't say it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't
yeah.
story itself. The
Okay,
story is going to continue. What it affects is
right.
the person's pocketbook. If you make the right choice within
Yeah,
the window, you
yeah.
choose the right gun, and that gets rid of the enemy. Then you
Okay,
up the list. Your money that you invested doesn't get lost. If you make the wrong choice, then you lose. So it does affect something. It affects that person's pocketbook. And
mm-hmm.
that's what the interactivity is all about. It's like a tournament
Mm-hmm.
in a long form video game, but it's collapsed into minutes instead of hours. So you have a
Mm-hmm.
brief window to interact with it, and that's what it affects. It affects your ability to be a winner or a loser. And we do
Okay,
have in our deck a demonstration of how that would work. So
okay,
that that's something that you should look at as we
right.
move further into this. But that's as
Okay,
simple as I can make it. It's nothing more
okay.
complicated than that. So it'll be a stream
So,
action. It'll be a streaming action series. It will be primarily streaming, like Matthew just said.
okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, so when you mention a game, right? So the gameplay is just a bunch of choices, right? Like, okay, this is the weapon that I pick. I mean, there is a correct answer to it, but it is primarily you picking the right answer, and then the like whatever feedback you get is just validation whether it's a correct answer or not. And depending on how many other interactive points you have, you kind of tick certain boxes, you get certain points, and then you keep climbing up a leaderboard.
Right.
Uh, is that the gist of it?
That's the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
it.
So
Yep.
there's no complicated gameplay per se here. It's
Nope.
just simply selecting choices.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're telling a story here because we start out as storytellers. We start out with a
Right.
streaming movie that's a straight movie. People sit down and they watch it just like they watch any other
Mhm.
movie. Then they transition to the next phase, which would be the sequels. So it's two separate things completely. We'll be setting up
Right.
marketing and advising people of what's to come. But when they see the first iteration of it, which is Maroon Island
Mhm.
itself, that'll be
Right.
a sit down experience. And then they move on to the next phase of it.
Just
Right.
a quick interruption, Vernon. I think potentially there could be three options, right? Two of the options is one, the first one, which is traditional movie, whether we use AI, real character, to be decided. But first, phase one is a traditional movie. Now, that has nothing to do with the Indian developers or Amazon AI. But for us, that will be the first phase. The third phase potentially could be a traditional gaming platform, which the Indian developers could be involved in. What Vernon is saying is an intermediary between the two. So after the movie, there will be a sequel, a series sequel, 1 hour, which will have this interactive gaming platform. So that is what we're discussing today with the Amazon people and our Indian developers. But I believe potentially there could also be a traditional gaming platform, traditional movie, traditional gaming platform. So right now, again, depending on the available budget, will determine what we can or will be able to do. But I think potentially the two. And the traditional gaming platform and this interactive sequel short video will obviously involve Amazon and will, of course, involve our Indian developers. Okay, so I'm just opening up what we are potentially discussing about. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good idea, Dr. Ying. That's certainly something that obviously could come out of the interactive part two of the series. A regular game, yeah, that's the obvious type of next step. So thank you for introducing that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to jump in here. So, I think to keep this call like focused and figuring out exactly like how AWS can help you guys in these scenarios, like we have to understand, I guess, really like what the ask is here. So, like what do you guys want to do for your platform, and then how can we advise there? It sounds like there's still some discussion going on as to like how you're going, like what type of platform you want to have, and like how you want to have this kind of built and set up. So I think unless we can kind of understand like exactly what the ask is, it's hard for us to advise on all these because it's all going to be dependent on how you want to have this platform or this game built.
Okay, Casey, let me jump in again. Okay, so obviously we are potentially working with these Indian developers we just recently spoke to. Okay, because we want developers that are familiar with the Amazon AWS platform so that they know the technology. And we spoke to Shrikant. He assures us that his team has over 8-9 years of experience using Amazon AWS. So we wanted to, so Vernon set this up to speak to you guys. So our tech team can ask you technical question, exactly what to do. So maybe we're too early at this phase. So maybe we need to speak to our tech guy and narrow down what our requirement for them is. But this was supposedly an opportunity for our tech people to ask you technical, because Vernon and I'm a nuclear physicist, but I'm not a software coder, etc.
Yeah.
So it's over my
Fair.
head. So that's why we asked our Indian people to speak to you guys. So you guys can speak the technical jargon to say, yeah, we know how to program this, we know how to program that.
For sure.
And great. So if that, and like I said to you, if Shrikant is correct, his team has 8-9 years of experience using all your platform, Amazon AWS, then we don't see that as being an issue. So maybe what we should do is cement our relationship with we already signed an MOU with them. So moving forward, we have to basically tell them exactly what we need to be developed, right? And then from that, they will look at the available platform that AWS can offer and say, yeah, we can use these services and we can use this entity and basically program to our requirement, okay? So that was the reason for this call. One, for them to ask you any technical question, but it seems if they have the experience, I don't think that's going to be an issue. But the other major thing is we want a budget on this, all right? So our goal is to get them to ask you this, and you say, yeah, this was it, but it'll cost you $100,000, it'll cost you 10 cents, whatever, so we can come up with a budget. Maybe it was a bit too naive or too early at this stage, but it's still a very good introduction because you get to speak to us, our entire team, and our entire team get to speak to you, and we can take it. So I still believe this has been a very good, productive, introductory discussion. But moving forward, maybe the next one we'll pinpoint exactly what we need and our developer can basically say, okay, we need ABC this or your services, and then you can say ABC this will cost you this amount, and then we can incorporate that into our budget and the time. Okay, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and my the reason about it for what I was saying is essentially like you guys once you figured out exactly like how you want to have this platform or your game, I should say, like built and like what you really want, I should say, like when you've mapped that out, then that's a good place for, and I guess Max can also correct me if I'm wrong, but like that's a good place then for us to come in and say, okay, if you're trying to achieve X, these are the AWS services, or this is what we would recommend you use. And we can provide then some like technical guidance or recommendations and help with you understanding your pricing and everything for those services too. But unless we know exactly like what you're trying to build and what your exact plan is, it's hard for us to advise you or make any recommendations because we don't have the whole picture and we don't know what you're trying to do. So
well,
yeah.
excuse me, Cassie, you did a very good job in sending us a list of possible technologies that you have available for this. So you got the concept immediately, and you sent us a list. So I think, as Dr. Ying said, that at this point, our developers need to go through that list now that they have an understanding that they heard in front of everyone as to what we're trying to do. Because as Dr. Ying said, we just had one meeting with them. And so they need to go through that list and have us talk to them about everything on the list, understand what it is and how it applies to doing this. So, I think that's what we should do next. And then, get back to you with a more specific usage ask so that we can be on the same page and get a budget for this. So what we'll do is set up another meeting with them, and then we'll get back to you and we'll have that in more detail based on what you already gave us, because we have that already. So
Okay. Yeah, I
just
think that was
to jump in real quick,
the list.
sorry, Cassidy.
No,
There's
you're
two
good.
things there's two ways I could see this going. I think there's just a fundamental decision that needs to be made that hasn't been made yet, to kind of level set where we go in the future. Is this going to be, the 90% narrative game built in a game engine, so built in Unreal or built in Unity, so we could host it on a server and then stream the output from that server? Or is it going to be more of a traditional streaming where I'm kind of streaming an MP4 file or whatever type of like video file to the audience with some code on top of it that kind of pauses it to make the choices, right? I think that fundamental decision has not been made yet. And
Right.
once you make that decision with your tech team, then we're in a much better spot to advise where to go next, right? Because there's kind of two big architectures here that you could go in. One is if you build it on a game engine, and the other is if it's more traditional streaming, right? Both of those are available on AWS, but because that decision hasn't been made yet, it's hard for us to advise on what's best, right? So I think that's the big decision that needs to be made going forward, right? Do you want to be more of a Bandersnatch just on the interactivity part, not on the story at all? Or do you want to be more of like, if you know a game like Dispatch or The Walking Dead, those interactive type video games? So there's just a decision that needs to be made there. And then once that decision is made, please come back to us and we can advise much better.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Beautiful. I love that summary. So
Yep.
could you also, I think this has been a very, very productive chat. Casey, could you make sure to send a recording of this? Because this is very good reference material, especially for me. So I appreciate if you send a copy of this recording over to us. Thank you. That's my last contribution. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. So a couple of questions, I think primarily to Max and Cassie. I took a look at all the bunch of services that you've shared with regards to AWS. Again, I think, I mean, like if I gather right, like from whatever Mr. Gibbs and Mr. Ying have spoken about, they're primarily looking uh, at this as a movie, which is going to have interactive spots, right? So I don't know if there is really any engine we're going to use. We're not going to build anything in Unreal or Unity or whatever it is or something. I'm looking. I think it's primarily, if it's going to be a choice-based thing, it is just simply a choice selection, which is pretty much in the vein of what Bandersnatch has done on Netflix. Now, I need to do some research to find out how they've enabled it. Of course, there's going to be a lot of telemetry and stat tracking, which I think AWS is, server side. You just kind of post all that data, and then you just pull that data, and then you probably give them a percentage saying that so many have made this choice and whatnot.
Okay.
And considering it has no effect whatsoever, there's no consequence to any of it. Uh, why is the reason we're tracking that data? I mean, purely for telemetry purposes. That kind of really simplifies it. It's not a very, very complex integration. I just need to figure out like what it is that they've done on the video side in Netflix, and of course, which platform they're looking at. If they're looking at multiple streaming services, you want to put it on Netflix, you want to put it on Amazon Prime, do all those services facilitate it and everything. Those are things we need to look at, and maybe I think that's where AWS can step in
Yeah.
and help us.
I do.
I think that should be relatively straightforward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I get the gist of it. Probably I can just go back, just have a quick look with my team. Probably it'll take us 2 to 3 days to just check up on like what were the technologies used prior to. I mean, like I think again, like I said, Black Mirror is a good reference point. We figure out what was that interactive tech that they used to, kind of set it up, and then it's all just back-end telemetry, tracking and whatnot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just
yeah,
want to make one point because I know that this keeps happening. The movie is not interactive. So when you say the movie that has interactive elements, that's not the case. The movie is a movie,
yeah,
period. There's no
yeah,
interactivity. The sequels, which are
yeah,
not movies, they're 1 hour more like TV shows. The, se-
right,
the sequels have interactivity. So
right,
please let us get away from the idea that this is an interactive movie. It is not. The sequels
right,
are interactive, and that's it. And then we can really focus better because I know it's been
correct.
happening all the way through the development.
Yeah,
So I don't blame
yeah.
you for saying that.
No,
But
apologies. I mean, I probably let me reframe that. So I did mean the sequels. If you assume that it's like a 1 hour TV show,
yeah,
so like purely from a technical perspective, like if you are pressing a button to choose something, that is an interactive element. So that is what I was kind of harping on, which is, when you're pressing something, that is an interaction. How is
right,
the system, which is like the server side or whatever, how is it tracking it? How is it acknowledging that interaction is something that we need to track. So that's the underlying bit of technology that comes in because usually, like let's say on Netflix, if I'm watching a movie, there is no interaction.
right,
I think the only thing Netflix tracks is how many hours have you viewed the movie, uh, and like from which IP has it connected, this and that. So you're
right.
going one step ahead. You're going to put like at certain places, you're going to say there are certain interactive elements that will come into play, and then you have
Mhm.
to click at that point.
Right,
So there might be certain things you want to track when you click, which is how many people have clicked one option and how many people have clicked the other option. And then what is the consequence of that? Like
right,
you mentioned the leaderboard, right?
right,
So, okay, if you do
right.
click this, there's a leaderboard. And then you mentioned something about like you plan to monetize this. So
Yes,
then there is a monetary attachment to that. That's again like payment gateways. How are we bringing in the money? So there are a lot of, I think more than the game development side, there's a lot of tech that's coming in, which is, integration with these aspects rather than the gaming side, right? Like these are just interactive elements, then payment gateway integrations into a video streaming format. Now,
right,
again, I could be wrong. I've not really seen a lot of this. Again, this is probably a novel idea. We also have to follow up with streaming platforms whether they even allow it, right? I mean, Netflix was one exception, but they never monetized it. And
yeah.
then when you bring in monetary aspects, that's like it's a completely different ball game altogether.
Okay,
Yeah,
so here, let me go back to what I started.
yeah,
So the interactive doesn't have to be on a streaming platform. It doesn't have to be on Netflix or on Amazon.
okay,
It can be on an interactive platform, one that are
hmm,
so we'll have to determine what that is. So the movie
right,
itself should be on a streaming platform. Amazon would be my
okay,
first choice because we're already building the sequels on Amazon. But the
right,
interactive does not have to be on a streaming platform. As a matter of fact, it should be on an interactive platform. Fortnite
Okay.
or some other interactive platform. So we'll have to determine that also. And it also comes down to cost, as Dr. Ying said.
Right.
How much is this all going to cost? Which is the best place for us to go, which will cost the least, give us the most. So
Right.
yeah, I think we're getting a clearer picture now of what you said,
Right.
and all that stuff about the payment gates and other technologies. We certainly
Yeah.
have to that ourselves. We have a company called YesCoin that we can use as a payment. They take cryptocurrency. So we have a lot of things already set up that I haven't talked about. Have a contract with Microsoft that we can also
Mhm.
include this. So there's certainly a lot of elements that you're just finding out about just now. So the more we talk,
Right.
the more you'll be able to understand the depth of
Sure.
what we're planning to do here. And then you'll have a complete picture. And I understand that you don't have the whole picture, so you're getting it now. And each time we have a conversation, you'll get more, and hopefully it won't be too much more. But yeah, we're now at the point where I think we're clear on what we're trying to do. So the plan is to have another call with you and Matthew, and we should probably invite Chris on because he's a gamer. He's he's our founder. So we'll have another conversation with you, and then we'll get back to AWS. Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything
So
else? Anybody
can
else?
I have a question, if it's okay. Do you have time?
Yes,
Um,
we have. Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. So after listening to the whole conversation, I'm thinking from a consumer perspective, being the user. So the loop, let's say I have made some choices and all the
I'm
right
sorry.
choices. So
I
is it in?
I need to I'm just gonna say I think this is a conversation that you guys need to have with each other's teams. So I'm gonna have
Okay.
to drop. So I would ask that you guys, have these conversations with each other and then in your own meetings, and then we can, advise you on the technical side when it comes to AWS.
Perfect. Thanks, Casey. Send me the
Yeah,
recording. Appreciate it.
will do.
God bless
Yeah,
you
have a
all.
good day.
Take care, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.